Voters Remorse Helpline, is this your first time calling? It is! So, Trump's been president since January and you're only just now regretting your vote for him? Well, how come, buddy? Trump bombing Iran. Okay, so why has that caused you to regret your vote for Trump? Because you don't want the U.S. to start any more wars. That's very commendable. If that was important to you, why did you vote for Trump? Because he said he was the anti-war candidate. And why did you believe him when he said that? What I mean is, nothing else he says is true. So why did you think it was true when he said he didn't want to start wars? What else has he said that wasn't true? We can do this if you want to. Are you sitting down? Is it a comfortable chair? Okay. Voters Remorse Helpline, please describe your remorse. You regret voting for Trump last year. Fair enough. Why now? The Iran thing. Let me ask you something. If you're this upset about us bombing Iran, does that mean you care about whether or not the U.S. involves itself in military conflict? It does. Good. So, that being the case, why'd you vote for Trump in the first place? He promised to end wars, not to start them. Right. But no, you're right. He did say that. But if one of Jeffrey Epstein's best friends had promised to do something about sex trafficking, would you take them at their word? Well, guess what? You're disappointed in President Trump's decision to bomb Iran. Why is that? Because you didn't think he would do that. Why not? Because he surrounds himself with the best people. Can you give me an example of one of those people? Pete Hegseth? Well, you know what? Credit to him, he didn't accidentally invite any journalists to the group chat where they planned this bombing. So he's improving, I guess. Who else? Have you got another best person? Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, you mean the same Tulsi Gabbard who told Congress just a couple of months ago that Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon? And then Trump decided to ignore that and bomb Iran anyway just because he felt like it? Which is what he always does when one of his advisors tells him something he doesn't want to hear. Like, even if you believe Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard represent the best people, which is whatever, what's the point if Trump's just going to do whatever he wants anyway? Yes, you should have known better. That's the point of this whole thing. Voters Remorse Helpline, is this about the Iran bombing? Lucky guess. So you're upset about Trump bombing Iran. How come? You didn't think Trump would need to bomb countries because of what a master negotiator he is. Have you ever heard anyone who wasn't Donald Trump or working for Donald Trump or sucking up to Donald Trump describe him as a master negotiator? You think that might have been a clue? Hey, let me ask you another question. So, you thought Trump was a master negotiator, and instead of bombing Iran to stop its nuclear program, he would make a deal with them to keep them from developing a nuke? So, you were hoping there would be some kind of Iran nuclear deal? You'd be in favor of that? An Iran nuclear deal? Like a plan of action for how Iran could get relief from the economic sanctions imposed on it by limiting its nuclear program and allowing international inspections to verify it? And to make sure Iran abided by the terms, it could involve many different nations, so it would be comprehensive, like a joint comprehensive plan of action? You'd support something like that? Just asking. You voted for Trump because you thought he would be a peacemaker? So, you never noticed how none of his favorite fellow world leaders are peaceful? Viktor Orban destroys democratic institutions and undermines the rule of law in Hungary. Kim Jong-un perpetuates arguably the strictest, most brutal totalitarian dictatorship on the planet, Benjamin Netanyahu is the one who told Trump bombing Iran was a good idea, and he has been bombing and shooting civilians nonstop for almost 2 years. Vladimir Putin literally started a war by invading a neighboring country. If Trump is a peacemaker, how come all his best friends are warmongers? If he was really a peacemaker, why would any of his warmongering buddies even let him hang out with them? That would be like the bullies from The Simpsons hanging out with Martin Prince. You know they're only friends with him because they enjoy pushing him around and giving him wedgies and copying his homework. Does that sound like Donald Trump? Of course not. He's not Martin. He's one of the bullies. Who is Martin? I don't know, Keir Starmer? Voters Remorse Helpline, where you can bemoan but never atone. You're upset about Donald Trump bombing Iran. We're getting a lot of that lately. Tell me a little bit more about why that upset you. Sorry, I just have to stop you. It's Iran. No, Iran, not Iran. Because Iran is the name of a country and Iran is a flock of seagulls, so pronouncing Iran like Iran makes you sound like an ignorant hayseed. In fact, the only thing that makes you sound like more of an ignorant hayseed is when you say you voted for Donald Trump. Voters Remorse Helpline, why you mad? Trump bombing Iran. You voted for him because you thought he would stay out of the Middle East. So would you say that you'd prefer the United States to stay out of the affairs of other countries in general? You just want us to mind our own business and do our thing and let other countries do their thing? Fair enough. Let me ask you, did you regret voting for Trump after he started saying he wanted to make Canada the 51st state? How about when he said he wanted to annex Greenland? Or when he said he wanted to take back the Panama Canal? Or when he said he wanted to take over Gaza and turn it into a resort? Do any of those sound like we'd be minding our own business and letting other countries do their thing? I see. He never promised not to do any of those things, but he did promise not to get us involved in wars. And you thought Donald Trump would keep his promise. Sure. Have you ever been catfished? Let me rephrase that. How many times have you been catfished? Voters Remorse Helpline, I'm gonna guess you're calling because of the Iran bombings. Am I right? I knew it! How? Oh, that's just today's vibe. I go with the vibes. Like Trump when he decides whether or not to bomb other countries. Why are you upset about Trump bombing Iran? Your son is in the Navy and he's on a destroyer in the Red Sea. And you voted for Trump? So, your son is in the military, deployed to a dangerous part of the world. You see what's going on these last few years. Putin invading Ukraine, Netanyahu attacking Gaza and antagonizing Israel's neighbors, not to mention the entire international community, ongoing conflicts in Syria. And you say to yourself back in November, I know who I want in charge of the United States military, the proven fraud who mismanaged a pandemic and got impeached twice and criminally indicted for a bunch of the stuff he did the last time he was president. That basically what happened? Well, I'm sorry for your son. I'm sorry he might have to be in a war, and I'm sorry he has such a dumb piece of shit for a mother. Voters Remorse Helpline, hearing you sob is part of my job. What's the other part? Making you feel even worse about your decisions. Does voting for Trump 3 times make you gullible? Well, you know, there's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 2 more times and trigger World War III because everybody laughed at your shitty parade. Shame on me. Oh, sorry, yes, it makes you gullible. I thought that came across. Voters Remorse Helpline. You regret your vote for Trump and you cannot apologize enough. You're right. You voted for Trump because you thought he would stand up to Netanyahu and refuse to support the Israeli war machine. What do they call the parallel world you accidentally crossed over from? Do they also call it Earth, or is there another name for it? Voters Remorse Helpline, fair warning, if I think I've got a shot to make you cry, I'm just gonna go for it. You voted for Trump 3 times, and you're so upset about him bombing Iran that you're never going to vote ever again. Awesome. Voters Remorse Helpline, how can I help you? If you couldn't tell from my tone, I was doing air quotes around help. You're mad at Trump over bombing Iran. Okay, how come? You didn't vote for this. Then why are you calling the Voters Remorse Helpline? If you didn't vote for Trump, your hands are clean. Well, relatively speaking. You voted for Trump, so you did vote for this. Well, which is it, dude? You can't have it both ways. You voted for Trump, which means you voted for this, which means you're feeling remorse and calling me, or you didn't vote for Trump, which means you didn't vote for this, which would mean you have no reason to call me. You voted for Trump, but you didn't vote for him to bomb Iran, so you feel remorse for something you didn't do? No, I'm not saying it's impossible to feel remorse for something you didn't do, but if you're going to do that, feel remorse for not voting for Harris, dipshit. Iran, not Iran. If the Iron Sheik had tried to get heat in the 80s by grabbing the mic and yelling, "Iran #1, everybody would have just thought he was bragging about his successful track and field career. Voters Remorse Helpline, what can I... Congresswoman Green, for the last time, please stop calling. I can't put you on the air. This isn't a talk show. This is a helpline. For people who need help. You definitely qualify, but I don't think I can help you. What do I recommend you do? Resign from Congress. If that doesn't feel like enough, go live in a cave. Voters Remorse Helpline, here to have a laugh at your political gaffe. You regret voting for Trump after the Iran bombing. Is this your first time calling? Have you experienced regret or remorse over your vote for Trump before now? No? Did you vote for him in 2016? You did. And in 2020? So you voted for him 3 times? And when he pardoned the January 6th insurrectionists, that didn't make you regret voting for him? How about when he appointed a gang of unqualified cronies and stooges to the cabinet? How about when he threw the global economy into chaos by putting tariffs on everything in sight? How about when he signed executive orders rolling back recognition of trans people and kicking trans troops out of the military? How about when ICE agents carrying out his mass deportation policy started rounding people up and sending them to prisons in other countries without due process? Or when he sent in active duty military to respond to mostly peaceful protests? None of that did? But bombing Iran did. I see. You care about peace. None of what I just described sounds very peaceful, though. You know what I think? I think you hate immigrants and trans people more than you love peace. No, there ain't no punchline to that. That's just the truth. You want a punchline? What's the difference between Muhammad Ali and you? Give up? He was the greatest, and you're just a sadist. He did the rope-a-dope, you did the vote-a-dope. He was a 3-time champ, and you're a 3-time chump. Pick your favorite, motherfucker.